My father is from Accra, so I think that's normal. I think as regards management, my management has always been, day-to-day club management, as a manager and a head coach. So at this stage of my life and career, to be involved, albeit in a different role, with the Black Stars is something that's a huge honour for me.
You know, all this is building up to the World Cup. How much, as someone with Ghanaian roots, did you follow the progress of the team? 2006, there was 2010 when the team was reached the semi-final. 2014. How much connection in the past have you had to this team?
Yeah, I've always had that connection. My background is very different. My father, of course, from Accra. My mother is Irish. I played for Ireland for 10 years and in some big games, and of course I was born and brought up in London, England. But I've always been very conscious of my background. So whenever Ghana played, and particularly whenever Ghana played in the big games, then I was always there, in my mind, always there supporting and absolutely hoping that the team would do well, because I knew that any way that the team could do well, it would be good for the development of the country and of course football in the country.
What have you sensed being up close, i.e. how much this team means to the people of Ghana and how much potential that has got long term?
I would probably have to say that I haven't seen so much more than what I already knew. I know the history of Ghanaian football. More international football, I have to be honest, than club local football. So I know the history. I know about the World Cups, and of course it's how you deem the World Cups, and always, maybe it will change, but always I think when an African team gets to the World Cup, that is success getting there. So I've always been very, very conscious of what there is here and the development. But the satisfying thing for me since my involvement is a lot of the young talent that's there, a lot of the young Ghanaians that are either first generation or second generation Ghanaians, even playing abroad, that are now being brought to my attention. So that is, I think, an exciting prospect, certainly going into the future.
The issue of the second generation Ghanaians has been a fairly popular, sometimes divisive one. How do you think Ghana needs to strike the balance between giving its homegrown players the best opportunities possible, but also not missing out on the enormous talent that gets developed in, let's be honest, these better structured, highly effective environments you have in Spain, in England, in Italy, in Germany, and the rest?
Yeah, I think it's a subject that I think will always, and you said it's been a divisive subject, but I think it's a subject that so many other countries have had to deal with, and even, I spoke about representing the Republic of Ireland, and very similar. They have a very good domestic league, but of course most of the players play abroad, and of course a lot of those players are second generation Irish. So I think it is a structure that a lot of international organisations have had to cope with, and here's one about getting the balance, because one thing that I have been made aware of is that the domestic and local leagues here is a very good league, and it's very competitive, and I've seen that in my time being involved, and we have to make sure that for those that are doing well, that they are very much in our thoughts. So it is about getting that balance. Ultimately for the senior national team, it's about getting the best squad possible to win football matches.
Is there anything in your experience that you think the Ghana Football Association, the Technical Directorate, all of you can do in making, whether it's Inaki Williams, whether it's Tariq Lamptey, in making them assimilate into this team a bit more? Because it's not just about the football, is it? It's about the culture, the attitudes, and a lot of things. So
yeah, I mean, I think the first thing is about a willingness to want to be involved and want to play. And you know, one thing I can tell you is that in my short period of time here, the new recruits as such that we have showed great enthusiasm so far, and of course, you know, there hasn't been a game yet for them to be involved in, but in the talks that initially the association had with them, they showed great enthusiasm. So I am absolutely positive that for any new players, new recruits that come into the squad, they will have no difficulty getting the right balances. My experiences of the squad so far is it's a very, very good environment to come into, a very competitive environment, an environment also that wants to represent the country and wants to do well for the country and know what it means. And so I would anticipate no problems in them mixing in with the group and getting the feel of what's important.
Have you heard people suggest that a lot of them are just showing up because of the World Cup? Is that particularly wrong?
This is something, of course, that I've heard, and I think it's never only going to be us as a Ghana association that will be in this position. And always what has to happen, you have to take it always for the merits of what it is. So the balance is for any concerns, okay, one side, and the other balance is that the nation wants us to have the best opportunity to do well in the World Cup, and to do well in the World Cup and have the best opportunity to do well in the World Cup, then we need the best squad. And that's not just about, and remember, anybody that's now showing an allegiance to represent the Black Stars, you know, it's not just about tomorrow. It's about next year, the year after, and going into the future. So anybody committing is not just committing to a World Cup. You know, they are committing to the future.
I see that there are a number of those players on the side. I'm particularly excited about Lamptey, who you coached at Brighton. And then there's Inaki Williams because of all the issues that have been said about goal scoring. What went into the squad that's been released for the two friendlies? What was the thinking in picking the sort of players who have been picked for those two games?
I think it's first and foremost it's about availability, you know, and you know, we have a very, very good coach in Otto Addo, and when any thought process that goes behind picking any squad are those players that are available, and then that's the balances, those players that are available. And remember, we have a squad now, and particularly some players that have been brought to our attention, some players doing very, very well that maybe haven't been in recent squads. So these are all the difficulties that Otto and the technical staff will have. So these are always the balances, but ultimately it's about making sure that we have the best squad to do well, and putting all of them balances into place. There will be a long thought process that goes into every player, because for which players you put in, there are players that you always have to leave out.
You coached Lamptey for a while, and there was almost this constant build-up, this constant calls for him to play for Ghana. What sort of player is Ghana getting?
Okay, so probably in my time at Brighton, Lamptey came afterwards.
Sure.
So he wasn't a player that I brought in. He came after when. But I've seen a lot of him. I knew him in his time at Chelsea. Very adaptable player. His position at Brighton has very much been as a right back. But I think in progression, I've seen him play in other positions, in a central midfield position, but also at Brighton in a more advanced position, because they tend to change the shape. So I think the beauty with somebody like Lamptey is of course he's young, he's enthusiastic, he's very excited by the prospect of being involved, but he has a lot of adaptability in where he can play. He has great pace.
Is he almost like the sort of thing that we look out for when we approach these second generation Ghanaians? The willingness, the quality, the capacity to play at the very highest level. Is he a bit like a symbol of the things that we look out for when we approach these players? Quality at the highest level, willingness to play, a strong attachment to the country.
These are all the things. I mean, first and foremost, it starts with the initial contact and a willingness to want to be involved, and that doesn't go just one way. That doesn't just go for an association and a head coach, a technical advisor and a technical staff wanting the player to play. It's about both ways, and it's about that player showing a willingness to want to be involved. And then it's about the qualities of the player himself. Where we see this player and in what position can he fit into that position. And of course, Otto's responsibility will be, a formation that he has in mind. Does a player fit into that formation and the way that he wants to play? But first and foremost, it also has to be about the quality of the player and the level that he's playing at.
What would represent success for the technical team in the two friendly matches against Brazil and Nicaragua this September?
Yeah. Well, I think what has happened with the two friendly games, of course, we thought they were going to be two AFCON games. So I think very quickly the association had to organise two friendly games, and we congratulate them on that. I think they're two very good friendlies. There's a lot of organisation that's gone behind the friendlies, but Otto's job will be to formulate what he wants to get from these two games. So the balances will be result, because of course results matter, and it's good certainly to go into a World Cup campaign on the back of winning games. But it's a result, it's individual performances, an opportunity to look at individuals, because we are now very close, of course, to the World Cup. A way of playing, whichever system Otto chooses to play, that player fitting into that system. And of course these two games give Otto, myself and the technical staff the time and the experience to look at everybody, of course, to formulate the squad for the World Cup.
What's been the working relationship with Otto like? What would a typical Monday after all the weekend games have been played in Europe like, as you try to build squads, you try to get ready? What has your working relationship been like?
Yeah, well, firstly, the relationship has been very good. I must admit, I knew of Otto as a player, and playing for Ghana, and of course played most of his career in Germany, so I knew of him as a player, but I didn't know him personally. My first impressions when I met him was very good, and I think that was reciprocated. I think the opportunity to work with him, I think, was something that was very exciting for me, and I think both ways. So we got on very, very well, but it was about putting a technical team in place, and that he has done very well.